tell us how you feel and what you plan to do was very, very insightful. At least I felt that way. I hope the rest of you did also. I have some questions. If anybody else has any question they'd like to ask, I think there's still some cards up there. Please include your name. And this one's just gonna be, I'm gonna ask each of you, and this is just a yes or no question really. To each candidate, do you support passage of Measure A, our 1 cent fire safety sales tax? Trevor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So do I. Okay, there was 2 of those, let's see. This is one that, I think I find it very painful. I feel that I really live a blessed life. I have a roof over my head and we always have food in the pantry and the refrigerator. And a few years ago, our family went through my husband went through some extreme health issues, and had we not been, had good health insurance, we would have been on the street. So to all of you, and we'll just go through, how will you deal with issues of homelessness and poverty in District 2 and Calaveras County in general? Just a brief statement.
I would follow the lead that our behavioral health program is working on in combination with the Sheriff's Department, addressing their needs, getting to the root of the problems of why they're homeless, why they might have issues that have created their homelessness, trying to find them the services that they need to work through that and fix the problem that put them in that position in the first place. I do intermix a lot with the behavioral health program through working with First 5, and they have a lot of really great peer supports and placements within groups that take away the pressure and the whole look of being homeless and making it feel unapproachable. So I would support a lot of these programs, the peer program, the behavioral health program, and help them through it.
Thank you. Cheryl?
Partially what she said, and I would keep an eye also on what's going on at the state level with laws that are being passed that would affect our mental health communities here in Calaveras. There's one on the books right now. They're rewriting the Mental Health Act. They're going to call it the behavioral something now. But the most important part of that particular law that's going to affect Calaveras County is that they're going to put more of the funding of these services on the counties rather than in the state. So they're changing how these are funded. I think that can affect this. I've actually spoken with some of the mental health workers, and they're very concerned. There are exceptions to this for low-income counties like ourselves, but we don't know how long those exceptions last. Can they be renewed? The other law has to do with conservatorships. There's a new conservatorship law at the state level that will basically, they're allowing hearsay now. So, this gentleman here is having a bad day and I can report him, and you're put into either conservatorship or you're arrested. So, we need to keep an eye on things that are happening at the state level that can affect us here in our county as well. Thank you.
Michelle?
Well, I think I have to agree with Autumn and Cheryl. There are a number of programs available through behavioral health to help address homelessness issues. And we need to make use of that. We need to make sure people get connected with the resources that are available and that they need, and make sure that we keep an eye out for any additional funding streams that might become available through state action to provide relief for the homeless. And at the same time, while we're doing that, we need to also recognize that we have to protect the property of people as well. So we need to make sure that homeless people aren't squatting on other people's lands, that there's a place perhaps in the county where we could have some kind of like another like parking lots in like LA where you can actually have a vehicle and be, but basically we need to make resources available to the homeless while protecting the rest of the population as well.
Thank you, Michelle. Trevor?
One of the first things we need to do is try to address our housing crisis and the fact that there's not enough affordable housing. So there's work being done with Habitat for Humanity to produce affordable housing over in Angels Camp. They're ideally, if they're able to raise enough funds, they're gonna be able to produce over 100 houses. That's a project that I support, and I think that we all need to get behind and make sure that they get the funding so that we are able to increase the housing stock here in our county, because that's one of the primary drivers for homelessness, the inability for people to actually find housing in our area. Another issue that people are mentioning, rightfully so, is social services, and talking to Health and Human Services, going to the, there was the budget review workshop, and at the budget review workshop, one of the things that was revealed was that the county sends about $4 to $5 million out of the Health and Human Services budget back to the state every year. And the reason for that is because we don't have enough trained social workers to provide the services. They're already funded. We already have the money, we don't have the personnel to be able to provide these services, and part of the difficulty is just keeping trained, experienced social workers in the community, and attracting them, recruiting them, and retaining them has been a major problem. When I've talked to, I spoke over in Toyanza to a social worker who said that for her, she does the job because she loves the job and will continue to keep on doing the job, but she said that it doesn't make financial sense for her. And if she wasn't in the situation that she's in her life where she's at, any other person would go somewhere else to do the same job and be better compensated. And so we have to figure out how to improve compensation for social workers, and we have to retain them. And so that's something that I think that we can do that doesn't even require us to add anything. We just need to make use of what we got.
Thank you. What do you think about the potential closure of Oak Hill and or West Point elementary schools due to the CUSD deficit? Trevor, why don't you start with this one?
Yeah, I've got a son, Emil, is in Oak Hill Elementary. I have a lot of friends who went to West Point and grew up there, and it impacts us directly, it impacts us deeply, and we've been going to meetings all week. Autumn's been at these meetings. We were, yesterday, there was the CUSD board meeting. Matt Brock and Scott Crisp came to the Oak Hill Library and met with us, and so it's pretty devastating if you look into the financials and the numbers, and I've got some information here if anybody's interested on just how bad the budget is right now in the CUSD. And it's about $4.5 million deficit that they've got, and they're talking right now about closing. After yesterday's meeting, it's very clear the intention or the primary proposal right now is to close West Point Elementary. And personally, I think this would be terrible because these are two of the best schools, Oak Hill and West Point Elementary, have some of the best enrollment in the district, and they also have some of the best test scores. And so what we would be doing is shutting down the schools that are doing the best in terms of providing education and services to our students, and then taking them to other schools that aren't able to perform as well, and further impacting those schools in terms of class sizes and resources. So I think it's very important that we look at all options that are available to us. I know that Matt Brock's been doing a lot of work and reaching out to the community and getting input. I know Marianne Garamendi is doing incredible work in helping us navigate the educational code and identify what the requirements are for the school district before they actually enact these closures. And so everybody in this room, this impacts all of us, and so I encourage everyone to participate in these meetings. There's a lot of information on Facebook and elsewhere, and reach out to me.
Well, I cannot claim to know as much as Trevor knows about the school district. I don't have any children in the school district, and I had not been attending meetings, but I think it's appalling that we have this kind of situation where we have to actually close a school that's doing as well as it is. And I don't know what the solution is, but I think there's gotta be a way to review the budget and find some additional funding someplace. Maybe there's some way to get some assistance from the state without giving up control of the school. I honestly don't know, but it's an appalling loss if we actually have to close the school, because that's our future, the children.
So I was not able to be at the meeting in person, but I did Zoom in, and I also don't have children in the school district. And they are focusing on West Point Elementary. One of the reasons they're focusing on West Point Elementary is that Moke Hill has something in their contract that says their building has to be used as a school. And so therefore they're going to go for West Point Elementary. West Point is already an economically depressed area. That's not just words, that's a box checked somewhere. And if they close that school, it's going to completely crash all of the property values. We recently received, I heard today, a huge grant for broadband expansion up here. So my questions are, where are our grant writers? Why are we not writing more grants for these schools? We have an indigenous people up there. We're able to get grants for everything else. Why are we not able to get grants for the schools? They are also talking about possibly closing Toyon instead of closing one of these schools, because Toyon doesn't have a residential area around it, and it would not necessarily depress their economy as much. So there's some really good ideas being kicked around. And I have a friend in Sacramento that says that, turning these over to the state is kind of the state's plan, and I'm not for that.
So this fight is nothing new. This has been going on for a long time. Railroad Flat School, as most of you know, closed, and I lived through that. I had 3 children attending that school when it closed. I now have children at the high school, Toyon and McCollum Hill Elementary. Back in 2014, we started a group called Save Our Small Schools campaign. We worked really hard. Steve Walensky got us going with that, a lot of upcountry people. And we fought, and they found a loophole during COVID, and Railroad Flat School was closed. So we're back at it. I'm on a group text today that my phone's almost dead from, of these amazing, dedicated parents that are working tirelessly to find solutions and ways to stop this, and what has our district missed. We do have some very committed board members right now, more committed than I've seen in many years. They are working very hard as well, trying. Nobody wants to close any schools. I think closing West Point would be the worst possible thing we could do. It is a very depressed area. A lot of kids that attend there, that's the only real balanced meals they're getting. That's the only real interaction they're getting. So we will work tirelessly to maintain it, hopefully staying within our district, but there's talk of alternatives and keeping some form of education up there for those kids. Railroad Flat has a parent cooperative now, where the kids who cannot be bused to neighboring schools are meeting and still getting an education. So I think West Point's a very strong community, and we'll see their way through this, but it would be great if the school district figured it out. Unfortunately, our state is not school focused. That's a big problem. If any of you want to help, look us up on Facebook, Save Our Small Schools, and we're going to be soliciting more help, writing letters to your state officials, all kinds of things. Thank you, whoever asked that question.